we said when we left when we left last night over on Patreon, we'll see you Sunday night unless Ohio State hires an offensive coordinator. And I'll be honest, Chris, this one kind of came from left field. Now, I had a interesting text message this morning. It says, "Go look at Arthur Smith," and I was like, "What?" So I did, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see. Offensive coordinator, former NFL head coach, available right now." And I started looking into it, and I thought, probably not on my radar. Hasn't been. There's been no smoke there or nothing. And then, I kid you not, it was maybe 10 hours later, my phone starts blowing up. Here he is. So, um, I don't know, guys. I have mixed feelings about this, as so does Buckeye Nation. Obviously, at this point, I'm reading the comments currently. We have a poll currently up on our YouTube. It's 57% no to 43% yes on if they like the hire or not. Let's start here, and then I'll get your guys' initial comments. We said from the very beginning, Ryan Day wants A, someone with play calling experience, B, someone from the NFL. Nailed it on both those fronts. That's exactly who we got in Arthur Smith. Now, I will say this in his defense, and I'll say this in his negativity. So we're going to show you both sides of the ledger here. He has led multiple top 10 offenses in the NFL. He has head coaching experience. He is relatively young. He's only 43 years old. And if you are looking for someone who one might say reminds you of what we got last year on the defensive side of the ball and Matt Patricia flipping over to the offensive side of the ball, okay. But people who are fans of some of the teams that he has worked for are not fans of him. That can be some of the negativity. So let's start there. Chris, I'll let you go first. Your initial reactions.
I am not a fan of the teams that he has coached in the past, and I'm not a huge fan. Now, what I will say is I'm going to give the devil his due. Like you said, Eric, this is a guy who, uh, he has had multiple top 10 offenses. In 2019 and 2020, he had top 5 offenses with the Tennessee Titans. And he had Ryan Tannehill playing like an all-pro. So I think some credit it does need to be given, but I don't like the lack of college experience. I don't know what kind of recruiter this guy's going to be. I really feel that we needed somebody who was more in tune with our program. And I just don't know that this was a good move on the part of Ryan Day and Ohio State to hire Arthur Smith. Now, I was critical of Matt Patricia's hire, so I'm going to try to keep an open mind. And what I'm going to say is this: at least it wasn't Dayball.
He's spoken like a true Browns fan.
And I will kind of piggyback Chris's comment. Thank God it's not Dable. I mean, I would have liked like a Kingsbury or a Joe Moorhead because they're more explosive, more wide open offenses. But the thing is, doing my research on this guy is, like you guys said, he had multiple top 10 offenses. He's known to run the ball, play action pass, and he's good with quarterback development. If Ryan Day didn't trust this guy wouldn't be here. I mean, that's one of the things that we said before. He's only going to let people call the plays that he trusts. So I was kind of critical on the Patricia hire last year, and that worked out really well. So I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to watch and see what happens and go with if it's good enough for Ryan Day. I mean, right now, how can I second guess him right now? So I'm going to go with it.
But Sean, you talked about his ability to run the ball and how effective his teams are. How hard is it to run the ball when you've got Derrick Henry and B. John Robinson as your running backs?
I mean, that's true, but I mean, honestly, I mean, you would think with some of the running backs that we've, with Bo Jackson being as good as he was, that we'd have been able to run the ball a lot easier than before. So, I mean, he's good with quarterback development. Like you said, look what he did with Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill looked like an all-pro
So,
under him.
so I mean,
Absolutely.
he definitely is good at quarterback development. I mean, he's known for running the ball and play action pass. So if he can get our running game going, I mean, maybe there's some kind of scheme that maybe his play calling and his scheme will work out better for us, and we'll run the ball better this year. Because last year our running game wasn't all that great, guys. I mean, I know we had some inflated numbers against Rutgers and against some of these other teams. I mean, Michigan was probably the best game that we ran the ball, but when it came time to run the ball in Indiana and Miami, we couldn't do it. So I'm gonna give this guy a chance and see where he goes.
And hey,
Va-
he kept Aaron Rodgers alive for another season.
Yeah.
So
Vader's against both you guys. He'd rather have Dayball. All right. Someone asked in the chat. They said I don't know much about him. Can you kind of? Yeah, he played his college football from North Carolina. He's a Tennessee guy. Went to North Carolina. He's an offensive lineman. When he played after graduating from the Tar Heels, he was a GA there at UNC for 1 year before getting a defensive quality control job for the Washington Redskins, where he was at for 2 years. He was out of coaching for 1 year, and then in 2010, he was a defensive intern at Ole Miss. He then got the same defensive quality control job in 2011 for the Tennessee Titans. He flipped over to the offensive side of the ball in 2012. Then he was an assistant offensive line coach in 2013 for the Titans, assistant tight end coach for the Titans from 2014 to 2015, and then the tight end coach from 2016 to 2018. Now, why that's significant? Mike Vrabel became the head coach of the Tennessee Titans in 2018. He was then promoted in 2019 to the offensive coordinator position at Tennessee, where he was that for 2 years while Vrabel was the head coach, before going and getting his first head coaching gig with the Atlanta Falcons from 2021 to 2023. And then 2024, he went to Pittsburgh for 2 years as the OC there in Pittsburgh, and now finds himself as the OC at Ohio State in 2026. So in all practicality, this really is his first college gig, very similar to that of Matt Patricia. Cup of tea in college, mostly an NFL guy. It seems to me Ryan Day's MO here is to bring in NFL guys with tons of experience that maybe need a season of 2 of kind of rebuilding the resume back up. Do you agree with that, Chris?
I do. I see where he's going. He's taken the Nick Saban approach. Again, I don't know how much of a fan I am of it, but if you look at it, one thing that you highlighted there, Eric, that I think also has to have some attention is the fact that he's got offensive line experience, and we've had issues on our line, and not to say that Tyler Bowen isn't doing a good job, but let me just tell you, if we had 3 offensive line coaches and we got the production we got last year, maybe there's something to be said there as well. Also, and somebody pointed it out in the chat, maybe we can get some NIL dollars out of this guy. I mean, his father is the CEO of FedEx, the CEO and the chairman of FedEx.
You're the first person. Was that in the chat? Did someone put the
Yeah, I
chat?
think it was Christopher Sowers mentioned it.
Christopher Sowers, tip of the cap for you for doing some real digging there, man. Yeah, I'm all for it. Hey, Dad, NIL, FedEx.
Yeah.
Where's the nearest hub for FedEx? Is it Louisville, Kentucky, or is that UPS? I can't remember.
Actually, that's UPS.
It's
that's
Indianapolis.
The one that had
FedEx is in Indy.
Indianapolis, yeah.
That's right. Because it's by the airport. You drive right by
Yep.
it. Yep. So, yeah, hey, not too far from Indy, Columbus, Ohio. We could use some of that FedEx NIL. Absolutely. Sean, what we were talking about here was Definitely seems like this is kind of going the NFL route year, couple years, build your resume back up, have a couple great seasons, maybe win a national championship at Ohio State, and then bump back into the NFL.
Well, I think he's going. I mean, if you look, he's going after mature, like adults. I mean, not these younger coaches that are going to be, you know, buddy buddy with a lot of these kids. I mean, these are guys that he knows he can trust to go in there and just run the room or run the offense. I mean, but Patricia, he knew Matt could run the whole defense, that he wouldn't have to go over there and jump in. And, you know, he knew Matt had it covered. And I think that's what he's hoping with Arthur here, that Arthur's, going to be the adult in the room, and he'll take care. He'll be that coach of the offense. Ryan Day can just go back to being a CEO and won't have to worry about it.
So, who does this help given his track record? Bo Jackson. I mean, if he likes to run the football a lot, a former offensive lineman, obviously, I think he's going to look at our offensive line play and maybe try to help that, essentially. Chris, you brought up, he has a track record of actually having some good quarterback development here as well. Julian Sane, what's the next step he can take with this? So I gotta feel like when we look at this, I'm not too terribly like I'm kind of in wait and see mode. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Matt Patricia, and that is let's see how this goes. Let's welcome in our fourth guy here, Knoxville Nate. Welcome to the program, buddy. Hey, man, you know this guy well living down there in Tennessee. Give us your take, buddy.
I like him. I do. The last time the Titans offense was humming was when he was here. Now, I wasn't overly impressed with, last year in Pittsburgh. But, let's be honest, he had a 48-year-old quarterback, one wide receiver, and a bunch of tight ends. So it wasn't like he had a ton to work with. I think I'm going to trust in Day. I know Chris doesn't like to hear that, but I'm going to trust him on this one. I think if he feels like he can call plays, then I'm going to roll with what Day thinks. And I have seen some success. I love his, he stays true to the running game. And I feel like that's something we have kind of gone away from in the last couple of years. And it's hurt us at times, especially with short yardage situations and in the goal line packages. And I think this guy could potentially clean that up.
And Nate, just so you know, right before you came on, I actually said I wasn't a big fan of Patricia as a hire either, and I was actually going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So
I like it. I'm with you. I think, I don't think he'd hire this guy if he thought he was an idiot. And he's a proven coach. And this guy's been a head coach in the NFL. When you can get that kind of experience on your staff, I think he can help. It's not like Ryan Day doesn't know anything about offense. He, his play calling may have left a little bit to be desired to some people, but now, he's got Arthur to call plays, and Arthur's got a good background, and I think this guy can, get this offense humming. And I do like how he sticks with the run. He's kind of run oriented, run first, set up the pass with the run, and I think that's where we need to be back. Where we need to get back to.
And as much as we don't like this guy's history of not having been in college, and we question his recruiting, and Nate touched on something important there. The fact that he was an NFL coach, I think that automatically gives him credibility with recruits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is something there that while he may not be a lead recruiter or a big on-the-road guy, I think that his status is going to bring people in, especially running backs.
I agree. And he can maybe buy us some players because his dad owns FedEx. So if we are short on cash, maybe Art can go to Daddy and take some cash out of the bank for us because he certainly has it.
Hey, this recruiting thing's no big deal. He just opens up a check.
$5.3 billion, I think he's worth.
Yeah, let's just say Art didn't have to work. And that's something I like about this guy. If I were him, I'd be drunk on a beach somewhere, living off a daddy's emergency credit card. and he's not doing that. He chose to actually work his ass off, so that's commendable.
So,
But still, he's got cash if we need it.
so what you're saying is not the cash won't be coming in McDonald's bags; it'll be coming in FedEx boxes.
Oh, yeah,
Overnight
you know
delivery.
what, guys? We're wrong
Overnight
about
delivery.
this. As was pointed out in the chat, and I just verified, his father did pass away in June of this past year.
Oh, so he has
So
daddy's
maybe
money
Art
now.
has the money.
That's what I'm saying.
Direct payment, baby.
That's what I'm saying. As soon as probate, I'm sure this thing's got to go through probate, but as soon as that's done, Art's in control of the purse strings. So let's do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, this says Donna, so that means it's my mom, which means it's actually from my dad, which means grandfather has spoken. Going physical with Anthony Schlegel as the strength coach and Smith in the running game and a good kicker now. Oh, baby, we haven't even talked about Schleg's coming back.
Oh,
Is Ryan Day getting a little bit physical? Gonna get physical.
I'll tell you what, if he's
physical.
going to go physical, Schleg's is the way to go.
Like,
Because
yeah,
that guy's an animal.
that guy's awesome. He'll be kicking. He won't be pulling any punches with those players either. He'll be kicking them in the ass. So that's sorry for language, but yeah, that's what I think we kind of need. We need kind of a jolt, a kick in the behind to get this program going again.
The old Woody Hayes story, Eric.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll share the Woody Hayes story here in a little bit. That's a great reminder. Okay, before we get into Schleg's, he was a head coach in Atlanta. Guys, Georgia's one of the hottest recruiting hotbeds in the country, next to Florida, Texas, obviously, Southern California. So, do you think when it comes to recruiting, being a former head coach for the Dirty Birds down there in Atlanta, that could possibly give us a little bit of an advantage? Or is it just like as simple as what's your NIL, boys?
I mean, maybe just a little bit, but I think it's more the NIL. I mean, or it could go against them too. I mean, they could hate what he did with the Dirty Birds and be like, "Man, you stunk down there. I don't want to play for you." I mean, so it could always go both ways there, Eric.
That's true. All right, let's talk about Schleg's. All right. When I say the name Anthony Schlegel, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Chris?
That poor fan who was stupid enough to step on the field. Because Schlegel taught that guy a lesson he'll never forget. Schlegel, I think it's just raw emotion and intensity. That's the way he played every single down. He played with just raw emotion and intensity and power, and everything was at 120% every single time he stepped on the field. And I love that. I don't know how well the players are going to like being coached that way.
I think they'll love it.
But you can bet the ones that survive it are going to be better for it.
Your first thing that comes to mind is Buckeye. He's a Buckeye. If you look at what it means to be a Buckeye, look at a guy like Chris Spielman, a guy like Anthony Schlegel, man. He's true Buckeye through and through, man. He's got that, what you want your players to be like.
And man, he's got the best one-liners.
Yeah, I just think of, Schlegel, Hawk, and Carpenter, that trio of linebackers that was one of the greatest threesomes of all time. And I think about this guy, as soon as he stepped on campus, he fell in love with Ohio State and the Buckeye tradition and the Buckeye program, and he hasn't left. He's stayed with the program pretty much. He's gone and done his own thing and sold his pads for a while, but he coached here for a term, seemed to do a pretty good job, and now he's back. And just think of the group of former Buckeyes that we have on the staff right now with James Laurinaitis, Tim Walton, Devin Jordan, C.J. Barnett, Nate Ebner, and Schlegel. We've got guys that know what it means to be a Buckeye, know what it means to play that team up north and beat them, and how important that game is. And I think he can certainly help these guys out in the weight room, and I think it's a good addition to the staff.
So what I am hearing is that he has been brought on with the idea that if it all works out, he could end up being the head strength and conditioning coach when Mickey steps down, when that day comes. He has a ton of experience. He's now coached in the NFL for 1 year as a strength conditioning coach. You guys pointed it out. He bleeds scarlet and gray. Anthony Schlegel is a family friend, so I'm going to try to be very careful with what I say here. Obviously, I think it's super awesome to have that connection in with Ohio State, and you all know him. He worked with Morning Juice back before he left for Jacksonville. He's on Bobby Carpenter's um, uh, podcast as well. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic hire. I'd love to have those Buckeyes back in the house.
And
Um,
Eric, just one more thing to touch on, if you don't mind. Uh, the other thing is, we talked about all these guys on the defensive side of the ball who are former Ohio State guys. When Hartline left, we lost that on the offensive side of the ball. With Schlaggel being in the weight room where he's going to be able to work with everyone, I think that is going to help instill that Buckeye culture in the offensive guys, specifically the new guys coming in.
John, yes, Mickey's still there. He's still there. He hasn't gone nowhere. This is to replace the guy who went with Brian Hartline. One of Mick's assistants went to Tampa with Hartline. I'm going to start reading some of these comments, and then we'll let you all respond to them. A.Ville, this is a bad hire. You can't spin this to make feel like it's not. Let me ask you this question, my friend. Were you in favor of Matt Patricia, or were you also thinking that was a bad hire as well? If you said Matt Patricia was also a bad hire and you're being honest with yourself, don't you owe Ryan Day the opportunity to see if maybe this is a good hire as well? That's kind of where I'm at. I'll be honest.
Even I admitted I was wrong, Eric.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like the Matt Patricia hire. There was weeks of unrest about the hire, and there was a lot of Buckeye faithful who were upset about it. They pointed to the Detroit disaster and used that against Patricia. I got to be honest, I wasn't 100% on board with it either. I was kind of like, wait, what connection does Matt Patricia have with college? But let's be honest, this game has moved more and more towards the pro game, and he did a phenomenal job. So I don't think calling plays in college is too big for Arthur Smith. He's been to an AFC championship game. It helped that he had Derrick Henry, but we've got talent in the backfield too. So I think you'd be remiss to not give Arthur credit for what he's done in his career, and being a pretty good play caller. Let's also remember he had Ryan Tannehill pulling the frickin' strings at quarterback, and that guy was a joke. Winning games with him at quarterback was pretty impressive, in my opinion.
Hey, Eric, let me say something here quick. He was in favor of Matt Patricia because of the Belichick tree. Well, you know what? The Belichick tree has been one of the worst trees in coaching. I mean, most of his guys that went under the Belichick tree has flopped as head coaches. So for him to sit there and say he was in hot,
how many times has McDaniel been fired?
Well, but I am going to give him credit because I asked him if he was in favor of it, and he said yes, he was. Now I don't know if he's telling me the truth or not. But I'm going to take his word for it that he is. But I can speak for myself when it comes to Matty P. I was kind of like in the wait and see camp. I'm like, let's kind of wait and see how this goes. I remember trying to maybe kind of talk Chris off the ledge a little bit a year ago around this time, and it seems to have worked out all right for Ohio State. That was a pretty good first year, Chris.
It was, but I don't give credit to you for that. I give credit to TG for talking me off the ledge.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. Go ahead. That's fine.
She was the one from day one.
She was in love with that hire, if you remember right.
Yep.
She absolutely said we were insane for questioning that hire.
I mean, I knew the guy was a good coach and he was smart, but I just didn't know how it was going to translate to the college game. So I wanted to wait and see.
Scotty Wortman, what's up, buddy? Who made the hire, Day or the committee who told Day he is not calling plays?
That's a fair question.
It's a very good question. I'm going to say both because
I think Day picked him and then had to probably get approval. But I don't think they just made this decision for him and he wasn't consulted. That's ludicrous.
Exactly.
Yeah, over 300 here. Good to have you all. He said, Bobby Max is only 75 likes. Smash that like button, everybody. Absolutely, man. It's free. Costs you nothing. Just boop, hit it, done. By the time we're done talking about it, you could have already had it done. All right, dude. I got a couple highlighted comments from earlier, so let me pull those up. Obi, so is JT off the table, or could he become the QB coach, or is Bailey pushed out the door? I don't have the answers for any of those questions at this minute. All we are doing is speculating at this point. I know a lot of Ohio State fans were kind of warming up to the idea of having JT come back if there was a play caller coming with him. Now, I don't think there's a direct connection here between JT Barrett and Arthur Smith. So I'm leaning to the idea that that's probably no longer a possibility. Do either of you have any thoughts with
Well,
that?
I wouldn't rule it out, because if there's a way to get JT in as the quarterback coach, and you tell him, listen, we love you, we want you here. You know what? You can still have the OC job, but you need to learn how to call plays, and we're going to have you work for 2 years with Arthur Smith before he goes and takes himself back to the NFL. Just come in, work under him, learn how to call plays, and you are our guy moving forward. You're also going to be our guy out recruiting on the road for us.
I just don't know.
You're going to instill that Ohio State culture.
Sorry,
And-
Chris.
What's that?
I said sorry about that. I thought you were done.
No, I really feel like it could still be in play. Eric, I agree. It might be less likely, but I think it could still be in play.
Didn't he build up some quarterbacks his time at Tennessee? Just saying.
He's known as for his quarterback development, plus running the ball and play action pass. So, I mean,
this year, people want to, kind of be negative about this year in Pittsburgh, but I mean, they threw for 3,700 yards. They ran for almost 1,800 yards with two running backs that, certainly aren't all pro, first team all pro guys. They're Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. He figured out a way to make Gainwell very productive, which I think he can do with some of our guys. And, he's a good play caller. I mean, he once he gets into a good rhythm, he's pretty good at mixing it up. And, this year with what they did in Pittsburgh, it wasn't all bad from the offensive perspective. They had trouble stopping people on defense, and this Pittsburgh defense is not the steel curtain of old, and that's kind of what was their downfall overall. The offense wasn't the greatest in the NFL, that's for sure, but you've got an aging quarterback and not the greatest offensive line, but I think he's proven that he can call plays at a pretty high level.
Do you think maybe Ryan Day reached out to a couple of national champions from last year and said, hey, what do you think about this guy? Let's not forget Jack Sawyer and Will Howard both played on that Steelers team.
Correct.
I think it also helps our line out a lot, guys, because he's a former line coach.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that.
I don't know if it was a scheme or what it was last year, but our line took a major step back last year, our offensive line, and something needs to be done this year about it. I don't know if it's scheme, if it's the coaching just didn't get through to the kids, but man, compared to what Fry had them doing, Bowen, something needs to be done. So hopefully Smith will solve the problem there for us.
Christopher Sauer, so much for the report about the Press Taylor today. What do you think happened there? Because there was a ton of smoke in Press Taylor. He interviewed. I think that there might have been even an offer on the table, according to our insider. Do you think it was kind of a wait and hold and see who else we might be able to interview? Because Pittsburgh was in the playoffs. So
I wonder if it wasn't, again, maybe something with, and it was mentioned earlier about the committee who didn't want Day calling plays. I wonder if there was still concern that even with Press Taylor, Ryan Day was going to have his hands all over the playbook, because he doesn't have, he has a little experience, but doesn't have extensive experience as a play caller.
Yeah.
This guy has extensive experience as a play caller. You mentioned it. 3 years as an offensive coordinator, 3 years as an offensive as a head coach.
Did Press take another job today? Did I miss that? I don't think so. Is he still with the Bears? Yeah, he's still with the Bears, so I don't think he took a different job today.
No, he's still with the Bears.
With the Bears.
I just think Ryan Day likes it because he's been an experienced. I think everybody liked the hire because Arthur Smith has been a play caller before and a head coach, so Ryan doesn't have to worry about that room. He can be a CEO.
Yeah. Look what it did last year with Chip Kelly. Things worked out well. That guy was certainly an experienced play caller. He had head coaching experience also, just like this guy. So are they the same? No, but I see some similarities between him and Chip Kelly. They're both run centric, and they both have a ton of experience calling plays. They both have been head coaches. I think there's a lot of the same features going with both those guys.
Hey Nate, one quick question: What would you think? What would you say the running style's like in his offense? Is there a lot of pin and pulling? Is it gap? Is it zone?
It's zone. He runs a lot of zone reads. I mean, obviously, it worked great when he had Derrick Henry, but look, like I said, this year with what he was able to do with Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, he's very good at scheming based on what he has, and he's got talent, in the backfield with these guys, with West and with Bo Jackson, and all the young guys that we've got in there. So I think he's going to have something to work with, and should be able to bring. I think he'll improve the run game.
Has anybody else thought about the fact that there seems to be quite a connection between Ohio State and Pittsburgh as well?
Did you ever see that clip of Mike Tomlin saying that he loves going to Ohio State to get his players after Jack made a big play? He goes, "That's why I go to Ohio State to get my players." And
Cam Hayward's been there
back
forever.
To Ryan Shazier.
Yep.
There's been so many Ohio State guys.
Antonio Holmes. I mean, it hurts because I hate the Steelers with all my heart.
I do too, but they love Ohio State guys.
Yeah.
Lisa brings up an interesting comment. I absolutely did not want our coach calling the plays. We saw how that worked out, and it did not go well. I think that was the overwhelming sentiment from Buckeye Nation is we need an OC to call plays. Does this not fit the bill for all of those people who didn't want to see Ryan Day not call plays? He's experienced in doing it. He has head coaching experience. He's from the NFL. Everything that we talked about, he fits every check mark that Ryan Day has. So I'm kind of baffled by some people who are kind of poo-pooing the hire. I figured that they would be excited about it.
And A. Dotville, this is not going to stagnate the wide receivers' growth. You do realize that in a Tennessee offense that ran the ball as much as it did, on two different occasions he had 1,000-yard receivers. This is not going to stagnate wide receiver growth. But back to your. Sorry, Eric. I saw that comment and it just got into me.
That's okay. That's fine.
No, it does. It absolutely solves the problem of Ryan Day not calling plays, and it was something none of us, I think, were in favor of. But I think some of us were willing to, for the right offensive coordinator candidate, we were willing to accept it for a year. While they learned. But if you don't have to do that, what? Alex Bryan, let me tell you, Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is a bit of a head case. I really do. I think Kingsbury's a bit of a head case. He's a great offensive mind, but it just seems like
I don't think he was coming back to college, dude. I don't think that was an option.
No, I think he's waiting to get a head coaching job in the NFL. He wants to be back in charge of a team. He feels like he got the raw deal in Arizona. Honestly, he just kind of got screwed because he had Kyler Murray as his quarterback. But, he did a heck of a job calling plays for Jaden Daniels, last year when Daniels was healthy. So I do like him. I would have not hated having him here. But let's be honest, I think that Arthur Smith is definitely an upgrade over Press Taylor. I think he's a lot more of an experienced, rounded play caller. And as Chris was mentioning with the wide receivers in 2020, A.J. Brown had over 1,000 yards. And, had one of his best seasons, a really good season under Arthur Smith and with the Titans there, with Ryan Tannehill trying to throw the ball.
Guys, I would even think our tight ends will be featured more with, the play action passing game off the running game. So, I mean, look for even our tight ends to improve on receptions this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned AJ, but the year before, Corey Davis had 1,000 yards.
Correct. In 2020, he had 994 or 9. Yeah. He had almost 1,000 in 2020, so they almost had two guys with 1,000 yards there. And Corey Davis never did anything after he left. He had a horrible year with the Jets and then pretty much was out of football. So he got a lot out of him, is what we're trying to say here.
So the polls over 59% to 41% are actually in favor of the hire. So not quite 60, but almost 60% of those who were in here say yes, they're in favor of this hire.
What about in
So
favor of the Schlegel hire? How many think are in favor of that, Eric?
probably close to 100.
100. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's not even worth putting in there.
No, it's not.
However, I did just put a new poll in that says there on YouTube that says, "Has Ryan Day earned your trust yet?" So I'm very interested to find out if the same percentages will line up on the yes nos there. As far as this hire is concerned, do you like this kind of avenue that Ryan Day is going down with his coordinators? It is very clear now what he wants in a coordinator: experience, NFL guy, something on those lines. That's what he's looking for. I think the Brian Hartline thing, where I'm going to develop you and you're going to be the OC down the road, and we're gonna kind of train you only for you to just bail on me in a year after I give you that position. I think that Ryan Day said, not doing that again. I'd rather you be someone like a Matt Patricia, so that if you go, you're going to the NFL more than likely, back to the NFL, and I'm not hurt by you, leaving and taking a bunch of people with you. Do you guys feel like that's kind of where Ryan Day's at, and do you like that?
I do. I think that's where he's at. Arthur Smith is kind of similar with Matt Patricia too. He had his shot as a head coach. It didn't really go as planned. Nobody's really, hiring him as a head coach again. He hasn't really been sought after. So he needs a good spot to go to prove himself, to get his name back out there. I think if he were to leave Ohio State, if he had a ton of success and then was going to leave, I think he'd go back to the NFL. Because that's where he's had success before, and I think he sees himself as an NFL head coach. So I could see him going there, but I don't see him, going to LSU and taking a ton of our players. I think Ryan Day thinks that's important, especially with the climate that we're in right now. In case anybody saw Dabo's press conference today, there's a whole lot of tampering going on. And everybody,
oh yeah,
there's a whole lot of.
Dabo was all kinds of spicy today.
Oh man, I love that. If you want to watch something interesting, go watch Dabo's press conference. Man, he'll give you his resume and then he'll tell you what he thinks. He doesn't, he doesn't hold back at all. And a lot of what he said, is not, as much as I'm not a fan of old Dabo. A lot of what he said was ringing pretty true.
As far as is this okay with me, it's real simple. Win me a national championship, and you can hire anybody you want, named not Marcus Freeman, and I'll be happy about it.
There it is. There it is.
I like what he's doing, guys. So I mean, like you said, that's a good point. I don't think Arthur Smith's going to run off to another college team. If he goes anywhere, he goes back to the NFL. I mean, Arthur Smith has, plenty of experience calling plays. We're not going to have another. I mean, look at the issues we had last year with Hartline. I love the guy, but man, we had some major issues and headaches that we didn't need to have. So I love it, what he's doing, and he needs to keep doing it. So I'm happy with it.
That is a
I
great
saw the question.
Let's put that in the poll next here, and I'm going to give this poll question a couple more minutes, and then we're going to put that one in there. That's a great question, RDCB. That's got to be RDCB.
Oh, it's our boy.
Yeah, of course it is. I have a starred question from earlier from Tiff. Guys, what is the fan base on Facebook? What's up with the fan base on Facebook not liking Arthur Smith? I think that's what the question's supposed to be. Facebook is a very fickle crowd, to
They're
say the
also old.
least. So
they're old, I know, because I'm there.
Me too.
I think Facebook people typically are unapologetic homers for their teams. People on X tend to be a little bit more pessimistic, a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, don't take themselves quite as serious as people on Facebook do. And I think the fact that Arthur Smith is not a former Buckeye I think that people on Facebook saw JT Barrett's name being floated around, former Buckeye, quarterback at Ohio State, and they had already made up their minds that's where they wanted this thing to go.
Let's face it, it
Uh,
wasn't the sexy pick, Eric. You know,
well, this means you don't. Okay, so let me answer this. For the 150th time, Brian Hartline called every play this
Yes.
year. The man sitting right beside him in the press box told me he called every single play this year.
Our
Until
insider
the,
Vader even had it confirmed by Mr. Big, didn't he?
yes,
yep.
the fact you don't believe Ryan Day was calling or Brian Hartline was calling plays this year, like, dude, yes, he was the entire season. Everybody confirmed it, man. Just because one guy on the beat says I don't think he was, and then he doubled down for some reason on it. Even Ryan Day came out himself and said, yeah, he called every play. Yeah.
And
Now,
then he came out and said, I'm taking the play calling away from him. So why would
yes.
he say I'm taking the play calling away from him if he wasn't calling the plays?
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious to me.
Some people you
Anyways,
gotta draw a picture, you know, Nate.
it's
Sometimes you gotta
okay.
draw people a picture. So
I think some narratives get started and people just hold on to those narratives and they don't hear or they don't follow us closely enough, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, that's my take on the Facebook crowd was they were settled in on JT Barrett, man. That's what they wanted. But whatever. Okay, let's go to the poll here. Let's see what the poll says. So 80, it's floating back and forth between, okay, it looks like some people are still voting. Let's see. I see the number. Let's end the poll right now. All right, and the result was 88% to 12, 43 people voted. 88 to 12, Ryan Day's earned your trust. Okay, cool. All right, so who would you rather see call plays? Let's go Brian Hartline. And now Arthur Smith.
oh, he's just Johnny
see,
Manziel.
that's just nonsense. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I tell you, we got a couple people in that chat tonight, really trolling, doing some trolling there tonight, guys.
Oh, it's all right.
Entertainment.
Yep, that's right. That's fine.
Johnny Manziel can't even show up for game day. We think he's going to show up for meetings. Come on.
Who's more reliable? Johnny Manziel or the clown that was on the sideline for Miami?
Mike
Irvin.
Irvin.
I think they hang out together, honestly.
I think Antonio Brown is probably your best choice of the three.
Can any of them pass a drug test?
No.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Any final thoughts on this OC hire tonight? Knoxville Nate.
Yeah, I mean, I've the same thoughts that I've had before. I think I do trust in Ryan Day. I think everybody wanted a play caller. We were looking, at the show we had the other day where we were kind of hypothesizing who they might get. We were looking at guys in the NFL. We were talking about some younger guys, but Arthur Smith's in his 40s. He's not an old dude by any stretch, especially since I'm about that age. I still feel pretty good. So this guy is a proven, commodity. He can call plays. He's done a phenomenal job before last year, even though, Pittsburgh had some ailments on their offense. He still was able to, get a lot out of it. And I think he's going to do just fine. And I think we're going to see this offense take a step forward. And as I mentioned before, I think our running game is going to improve.
I'm not going to say I love this hire yet, but I'm not going to condemn this hire either. I learned my lesson by doubting Matt Patricia. So I'm going to give Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt on this one. I'm going to give Arthur Smith the benefit of the doubt on this one. As I look at his numbers, he has shown that he can produce as an offensive coordinator. So to me, I feel like we got to give him the shot to do that right now. And honestly, I don't know what he wasn't the best option out there. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I tell you guys, I know he's not the sexy pick, but there's about 4 or 5 guys I mentioned, like all of us did, that I would rather have, but I'm trusting Ryan Day after what he did with Matt Patricia last year, and after doing some research and seeing that this guy did have a couple of top 10 offenses in the NFL, I think he can call plays in college. So I'm going to give Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt, and I trust Ryan Day especially after last year's hire, guys. So let's give it some time.
And Sean,
Uh,
don't forget the most important thing. He's not Dayball.
Exactly. Thank God. That bum.
shout out to A-Dot, man. Dude, you've been great in the chat today, and I like it when people press me a little bit.
Yeah.
It causes me to, kind of refine my arguments on my ideas. So shout out to you, man. I really appreciate you being in the chat tonight.
Yeah,
I
you gotta
trust
have,
Ryan.
have your own opinions, like
Yeah.
we're not right 100% of the time for
No.
sure.
Well, I
And,
am.
everybody's entitled to their opinion.
you're not, Chris.
And they
We know
may
you're
be
not.
they may be right.
I trust Ryan with all my heart. I do, and I do think Arthur calling plays in NFL is good, but the philosophy to me is not ideal for Ohio State.
That's fair.
That's fair. Maybe Ryan Day needs his philosophy challenged, and maybe that's what this is about. Maybe Ryan needs to freshen up that playbook a little bit. And if you're going to do that, bringing in somebody from the NFL who's ran multiple types of offenses at multiple, places with multiple different styles of quarterbacks is a way to get that done. So, let's give Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt. I think Ryan checked off some boxes with this hire that we were all looking for and we all thought he was looking at, right? It is obvious, it's become plainly obvious to everybody now, he wanted someone from the NFL. That's why we were waiting around for this thing for so long. We all hinted at that. We all speculated about that. When we saw the list of people he had interviewed, we were like, yep, that makes sense. And then out of the blue today, we see this, and the interview must have went incredibly well, which means he checked every one of Ryan Day's boxes that Ryan Day was looking for. And so I guess that's a good thing. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm kind of in the wait and see mode, just like I was with Matt Patricia. Let's see how the players react early. The players let us know what they felt about the Matt Patricia hire pretty early last year. They were pretty excited when the media got to talk with them and they got to work with Matt Patricia. Let's see how things go with Arthur Smith and the offensive guys. Let's see what Jeremiah Smith says. Let's see what Julian Sane says. Let's see what Bo Jackson says. Let's see what the offensive linemen have to say after working with him for a couple months before we, jump off the boat or everything else. So that's where I'm at. Any last thoughts, guys?
Yeah.
I think one good thing is that, it doesn't hurt to have a fresh set of eyes to look at things. So,
Yeah.
Maybe some of the philosophies is going to start to change. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It is. Absolutely.
Patricia worked. Chip Kelly worked.
Mhm.
I think this can work. I mean, is it 100%? No, nothing is. But I do think this has the makings of a positive hiring situation, and I think this guy's definitely got a whole lot of experience. Anytime that you can add someone to your college staff that has been a head coach in the NFL, it's usually a positive thing from my experience.
And guys, let's just be happy that we didn't promote from within. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
And J Carb, let me just answer your question here, buddy. When are people actually going to trust Ryan Day? I don't know that anybody's ever going to completely trust Ryan Day until he follows through with what he said at his initial press conference. And that is he actually achieves his 3 goals in the same year. I think that's what it's going to take for people to 100% trust Ryan Day. I think it's that simple.
That is, that's the perfect season, man.
Yeah. No. Hey, 82-12. I'm good.
I am too. I am too. So I don't know where all you are at with this, but it seems like we can at least now turn the page on that. We can start to look forward in what this offense is going to look like, what the players are saying internally. That's where we're going to be looking at in the coming weeks. But Ohio State has found their offensive coordinator. It is Arthur Smith. We can finally put that to rest. Who else? Is that it? Did we find the last guy? Or is there going to be something else that happens with this coaching staff? Only time will tell. We didn't get into the Brian Fessler stuff. Is he gone?
We don't know.
Mm.
Interesting. Someone will have to be demoted unless they just paid this guy a couple $1 million to
Not
call
recruit.
plays, and that's it.
Doesn't sound like he really needs the money.
No, he's not hurting for cash.
No.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, we will have our live show tomorrow night. Mike Wargo will be with us tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Former Ohio State walk-on, the Rudy of Ohio State. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss it tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, right here on the OHIO podcast. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Cost you nothing, absolutely free. Appreciate all of you joining us this evening. Till next time, be kind one another. I owe someone's OH, sing Carbon High with all your heart. Y'all know what to do. OH!
Ayo!
Go Bucks!
Scum still sucks.
So does Marcus Freeman.